What's up there, guys? So, let's talk about this because there's still a lot of Skydio 2 talk out there. I think I want to cover this by the basis of, is the Skydio 2 for everybody, okay? I don't think it's for heavy professionals. Basic real estate shots, stuff like that you could probably do, but most most real estate companies are looking for 20 megapixel or higher. And once again, I feel like, and we talked about this a couple times, I think it was Above and Beyond Drones, Jim over at Above and Beyond has specifically pointed out that once again we're getting that weird 2015 technology with 12 megapixel cameras, and even though they're shooting in 4K at 60, it's still a 12 megapixel camera, so you're not going to get the pixel density that you're looking for professional shooting. So I think, is the Skydio 2 for everybody? I think it's for the basic hobbyist and the sports enthusiast. Okay, the autonomous follow me mode is obviously the best we've ever seen. I mean, hands down, it is the best civilian autonomous product that you could most likely buy on the market to date. Um, but it falls under that strange category of not having a 1-inch sensor, being 12 megapixel, which is what we've been seeing since 2015 technology. I'm just curious why we can't get a better camera upgrade on these things. How come we're still so far back? You know what I'm saying? Cameras can't be that expensive. My phone has a 16 megapixel camera, and it's only a cheap little $200 device. So why can't we get better cameras on these, drones? This isn't exactly a mid-range drone. It's $1,000, and by the time you're done, it's probably about a $1,400 purchase. That's expensive. I would expect to have a really decent camera for that price. Don't get me wrong. 4K at 60 is great. Okay, that's about what most of you could use for, vlogging or very simple professional shots. But you're not going to be doing tons and tons of real estate and commercial vids with this unless you're specifically being hired for autonomous abilities, to show off a product like an ATV or a dirt bike or a boat or something like that. You're gonna want to use something like the Skydio for those shots. It just sucks that they're so limited by the camera. I think everything else is fine. I've watched some other videos about this, people complaining about, well, what if I chop my hands off on the props? Guys, it gives you a decent landing pad. The battery on the bottom is perfect for just hand grabbing. I hand grab lots of stuff that worries me, but I've never once lost a finger to it. So I don't really stress the reach out and just grab the battery, okay, for a hand landing. Especially if it's going to be a precision hand landing, which I assume they've probably put in there and activated that it can sense your hand and it's going to, slowly come down so that you have time to position your hand. I'm going to go ahead and assume that's probably the case, or they're just going to allow you to land it on the ground. So that doesn't bother me. Their magnets that they have for the battery are so strong. Trust me, you're not losing a battery mid-flight, okay? You could probably smash into something at high speed and you still probably wouldn't lose the battery. Very well thought out design in my book. But once again, is it for everybody? No, I don't think the Skydio 2 is for everybody. I think it's for your basic hobbyists, your sports adventure enthusiasts, and maybe baseline professional photography. Baseline. I mean, for simple shooting, you're not getting the pixel density that you need for true real estate photography and stuff like that, cinematography. Now, you're going to get a lot of that good stuff with adventure shooting and hobby stuff, but do I see this entering into the professional ring on any kind of basis other than like just the bottom lowest format? No, I don't. So for those of you that think this is going to be a drone that you're going to go out and conquer the commercial market with, I'm here to tell you that's probably not going to happen. MIT is an amazing group of guys. The guys that graduated from MIT, they have been doing incredible things in the drone market. I would love to get my hands on one of these and test it. I'd love to show off its abilities. We came under the assumption that it was a U.S. manufactured drone, and that's not the case. They've specified that's not the case. It's being built here, but the parts are coming from overseas. So it's not technically a U.S. built drone. However, I do see that the fact that it's being manufactured here as by a U.S. company is good. I think that's good for us. And for those of you that are saying things like, oh, it's going to spank DJI, yeah, maybe right now. but I promise you DJI will come up with a rebuttal for the Skydio 2 if they haven't already. Now maybe they're forcing DJI's hand to release tech they didn't want to release yet. I'm sure they have something in the works to compete with the Skydio. If you know DJI and you know the way they do things, they have taken this as a smack in the face, and they are going to release tech that they probably weren't going to release for another year or two on people. So I would expect that they've already thought of something to come up with. They're probably already putting it in the works, and Skydio, you're probably going to have an immediate competitor right after people start getting these things. That's just how DJI works. That's how they've always worked. I myself am not a huge supporter of DJI. I just don't like all the proprietary stuff. I know you can go with no limit drone software. I know you can do all that stuff, but why? I can just buy a drone that I don't have to deal with any of that. I don't have to worry about whether I'm going to brick the unit or do this through open source. So it's not really a worry on my mind. I fly open source platforms. Well, I mean, you got Solos behind me, Bebops, they're all open source platforms. So I don't know, guys. I like drones that I can modify and make my selection through third party. If I want to change my camera, I'm not limited to the ability to change my camera. If I want to change my gimbal, I can change the gimbal to whatever I want on my open source platforms. I can change the camera to whatever I want. I can run third party, legs. I can run a bait drop system. There's no limit to what I can do. This is why I don't get off the bigger platforms. I love the bigger platforms. They give you a plethora of different things that you can do. Whereas with once again, Skydio, even though it is a form factor of being open source, the problem still lies in the fact that you're stuck with the camera that it offers. Just like DJI, you're stuck with the camera that it offers. Unless you're buying a $15,000 or $30,000 product from DJI, you are stuck with what you've got. And in a year, it becomes an obsolete product because they release something new on top of that. So just go into this with an open mind, everybody. I'm saying this off the top of my head. I made some key points to myself when I was driving around thinking about the Skydio 2 and who it was really going to be for. And I think, like I said, your average hobbyist is going to really have fun with this. Your average adventure taker, people that snowboard, ski, skateboard, run, jog, parkour, all of that stuff. These are people for you. Jet skiing, snowmobiling. This is the drone for you if that's the type of stuff you're doing. I think that with the controller, it's going to be basic flight modes. You're going to get, your standard send it out, bring it back, be able to turn, yaw, all that fun stuff. I don't see it being more complicated than that on that end. And for those of you wondering if you're going to have the ability to turn off the autonomous features, I'm sure MIT has definitely, the guys from MIT have probably put in a button that you're going to be able to push on your app that's going to say turn off obstacle avoidance. There's, or digital tracking modes or any of that stuff. If you just want to go out and fly like a normal drone, they would be silly not to. I'm sure this has been gone over in their office numerous times. If we've asked it, they've probably asked themselves the same question. And I would assume, being a hobbyist that's been doing this for a while, that is something that they are going to put into play. Now, I don't have the money to afford one right now. If they send me one, that's awesome. I do have a friend, eDrone, who pre-ordered his, who said that he's going to go ahead and get one, review it, and then he's going to send it to me if they don't send me one so I can review it and get my hands on it and get a feel for it. So either way, I'm going to get to put my hands on this thing. I'm going to get to touch it. I'm going to get a feel for it. I'm going to understand it, and I'm going to have fun with it and make my pros and cons and come to my own conclusions on that and share that data with everybody, because that's what hobbyists do. So there's nothing fake about the way we do things here. So anyways, guys, if it's your first time on my channel, feel free to drop a subscription. We're full of information here. We do live shows all the time. I invite anyone that has questions to come in. We know everyone from FPV world. We know everybody from the GPS platform. We know proprietary systems, and we know open source. We surround ourselves with knowledgeable people so that we can give that knowledge back to everybody else when you have questions. So we have a team of beautiful people that help my channel and are very supportive and are always willing to help everybody else as well. So if it's your first time here, I suggest dropping a subscription, pushing the like button, turning on notifications, and I will see you guys in the next vid. Drone worship, and I'm out. Toodaloo.